All I'm telling you is if you learn to be mindful, and you can learn to be mindful, that's what's nice about it. I don't want people coming here and say, oh, I'm not good at that. You're supposed to learn. We have this word called learn, right? You are the most intelligent species. I know we don't act like it, but you're the most intelligent species in the entire planet. You can learn anything you want. Doesn't mean you're going to be the best that ever lived. You want to play the piano? Learn. You want to play tennis? Learn. Right? You want to be mindful? Learn. Right? You just take it on, and what I want you to get from this discussion is, yeah, I want to do that. I'm not going to teach you how to do it. I don't teach how to do it. Right? But I want to teach you to want to do it. And to realize that this is not some little exercise. It's not, oh boy, I'll go meditate a little bit. It looks neat. It's a little fun. It'll quiet me down a little. No, this is your life. If you are not present, you miss your life. All right? And you are better at every single thing you do, the more consciousness you bring to bear. If you were to ask me, that's getting interesting, how do you do that? Right? I approach it very differently than other people. I'm weird, all right? There's two ways to go about becoming more mindful. One, which is what most people try to do, is to say, I'm not mindful, let me be mindful. I'm eating, let me see, I'm picking up, nothing wrong with that, right? I'm practicing mindfulness. Buddhists, when you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. I'm paying attention to my feet falling on the ground. I'm paying attention to the food coming in my mouth. That's very beautiful. And if I talk about alternate ways, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of the other techniques. Anything you do is better than not doing anything. I said there's two different ways to approach it. One is to say, I'm not mindful, I need to become mindful. That's a willful, very Western way to do things, all right? There's another way. Why am I not mindful? Not what do I do about the fact that I'm not mindful? Why am I not mindful? Why is that not my natural state of being? Why do I have to do anything about being here? So you stop for a moment, and this becomes a very interesting discussion, right? Why am I not mindful? And the answer, first of all, is you are always conscious. It is not that you're not conscious. It's what you're conscious of. Consciousness, an object of consciousness. Consciousness is always there. When you go to sleep, you're conscious. That's why you see your dreams. Is it the same you who see your dreams as the you who wakes up and says, you should see the dream I had? It's not like there's a continuity of consciousness, isn't there? Right? Well, what if you're not dreaming? You're not in REM state. You're in a very, very, very deep sleep. You wake up, and sometimes you say, oh my God, I slept so deep. It was so peaceful. I didn't even have any dreams. How do you know? I'm asking you a question. How do you know? Because you were there. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, very deep writing, he says, you are never not conscious. When you go into deep, deep sleep, it is not that you are not conscious, you are conscious of nothing. And that's why it's so restful. In other words, there's no object. You're conscious of nothing, but the consciousness is still there. So mindfulness is not about that you get more consciousness, right? It's about where is your consciousness? Okay, and that becomes, why are you not always present? Well, there must be something else that's another object of consciousness that is capturing your consciousness, that is keeping you from being present. You must be getting distracted. What does distracted mean? My awareness was on this object, and all of a sudden another object caught my awareness, it caught my attention. They're all saying the same thing, right? So an object can pull your attention toward it, can't it? All right, that's why you're told when you're driving and your smartphone beeps and it's a text, right? Bring your awareness back to the road, okay? Because it's been a proven fact that the amount of consciousness, awareness that it takes to put your consciousness on the object of that phone in text is out of the question. There's all kinds of things you can do, right? You can take a sip of soda, right? But you cannot text because it takes full awareness to push those little buttons. And if that brake light goes on, or if that, I don't need to talk about it. So objects of consciousness can catch your attention. They can draw your attention toward them. And part of mindfulness is you bring it back. So the question is, what is it that's catching your attention, keeping you from being mindful? Because we're not mindful. All right, you're going to notice that when you start paying attention to it. And what you're going to find out is way, way more distracting than your little smartphone or anything else is your mind. My mind, your thoughts. You do have those, okay? On the road, there's lights, there's cars driving, but that's not all. Those are not the only objects your consciousness can become aware of or distracted by. I'm driving and all of a sudden I remember, that I had an argument with somebody this morning and trying to think what I should have said and what they said and what do they mean by that anyways, and should I call, and is that just me or do you have that affliction also? Okay? And so there are these self-created objects called thoughts. They go on inside of you, right? I don't care that scientists may or may not be able to measure them or do anything like that, right? You know they're there. Your mind has the ability to create thoughts, all right? And they're distracting, aren't they? They're distracting. They pull your awareness toward them, and your consciousness, right, then gets drawn away. It's all a question of how you're splitting your consciousness. You're multitasking, all right? So when your thoughts are created, your consciousness pays attention to them, right? Some thoughts are benign. You drive by, you see a tree, and the mind will just say, oh, there's a tree. Well, I don't know why I bothered saying it. I had a whole discussion about it. I already saw the tree. You don't have to tell me, all right? But he likes telling me, right? So, right? Oh, look, the lines are white that are going by. Well, those things, they don't distract me very much. They just come and go. But there are some thoughts that are quite distracting. And those are what I want to talk about. Because if you want to become mindful, and you do you hear me? I don't know if I succeeded in telling you and your understanding that you do. You want to become mindful. Because it's like having a better life. It's like being more alive. No money can buy you this. That's why rich people have to go out and do more things, because they're not mindful. They're too caught up in themselves. And so they got to go jet set and buy things. And it's not the person who has the most toys, right, when he dies wins. It's the person who is most mindful and enjoying the experience of their life. Forget enjoying, even experiencing the experience of your life. If you're missing the experiences of your life, you don't feel alive. That's why you have midlife crises. That's why all of it happens. That's why you have to run around and do all kinds of stuff. Because you miss your life. It's pretty easy to miss your life, isn't it? Right? Why do I miss my life? Because you get involved in your thoughts. Okay? So what happens is there are some thoughts that you have that are different than trees going by or white lines going by. They are what we call very personal thoughts. Your mind is very interesting. It has a way of serving you personal thoughts. Okay? Why couldn't I get that? He got that. I should have got that raise. He shouldn't have got that raise. That's not even fair. This world's not fair. I don't even like it here. I think I'm going to leave. I'm going to quit. What are those? Those are not you. That's not your consciousness. Those are thoughts that you're aware of. You are aware of them or you're not, right? If you weren't aware of them, there wouldn't be a problem, right? Your mind is creating thoughts. Your consciousness is being drawn to those thoughts. Therefore, you are paying attention to them instead of paying attention to the reality of what's unfolding in front of you. Have you ever done that? Anybody guilty? Okay. And what you're going to find out when you practice mindfulness, when you pay attention, is this is way bigger than anything I feel bad telling you about it. Right? It's like sometimes people will come to me and say, first it was fun, now it's not. Right? We talk about objective observation. Now we're getting to the traditional mindfulness, right? Krishnamurti called it objective observation. Other people call it witness consciousness. The first thing you do is not go in there and try to change. I told you, it's not a matter of using will. There are forces that are causing you to be non-mindful. Why not deal with those instead of forcing mindfulness on top of the forces that are forcing you to be non-mindful? Do you see the difference? Mindfulness should be totally natural. There's no effort. It's an effortless thing. But there's something wrong. There's something that's distracting you from being mindful. So basically, your first step is witness consciousness. It is to step back and say, all right, I'm going to take a shower. Just watch the thoughts that get created in your mind while you're taking a shower. And then come back and tell me about it. Or tell anyone about it, your husband, your wife, anyone, because you won't. Do you understand that? There is not one of you that would permit me to put my magic stethoscope up against that mind and then on the big jumbotron, every single thought that is being created inside that mind, you gonna let that go up there? Not a chance in the world. And that brings up all this interesting stuff, right? Where do the thoughts come from? The mind's a thought-making machine. It's just, right? And it's fascinating. So witness consciousness, part of mindfulness, is to step back and say, I am not creating these thoughts. I'm not. They are creating themselves inside my head. These thoughts are, I'm the one who's watching the thoughts, I'm the one who's noticing the thoughts, okay? But they're being created by whatever force in the universe creates thoughts. And we can talk about that, it only takes 2 seconds. You have had past experiences, right or wrong. Some of those experiences were pleasant, some of those experiences were not pleasant, right? I guarantee you, the ones that were not pleasant and the ones that were very pleasant are still in there. They left impressions on your mind. That's the data in the computer of your mind. And what is going to happen is that data is going to regurgitate right back up. Skinner said, man is the sum of his learned experiences. He's wrong. You are the one who's watching your mind be the sum of your learned experiences. You are in there, are you not? You do notice that your mind talks. Who are you? You're not the sum of your learned experiences. You are the consciousness who is aware that your mind is talking about the sum of your learned experiences. And that is all your mind talks about, is the sum of your learned experiences. The only thing the computer can do is take the data it's got. The only thing you have is the sum of your learned experiences. And what's really neat is every single one of you have a totally different set of data. Right? You all think you all look different? You might as well look like identical twins compared to how different that mind is inside. Because since you were born, you've had totally different experiences than that person over there, and your husband or your wife. You think you know somebody? There's not a chance in the world. That's why you have so much trouble with your relationships. You think they're supposed to be like you. They're not anything like you. If they took your blue blankie away too early, you don't like blue. If you had the blue blanket and they left it till you were done with it, I love blue. Right? So your thing about how you feel about something, your thing about what you like and what you dislike, that is not you. You are the consciousness that is noticing that the mind is doing this. And what the teachings of mindfulness, the traditional ones, are saying, please be that. That's all witness consciousness is. Please pay attention. Have you noticed that if you're taking your shower and you get into the shower and we're doing really nice and all of a sudden you're taking the shower and you drop the soap and you remember the time you dropped the soap and you got yelled at because your sister was taking the shower and then you remember how your parents got divorced and then all of a sudden you're depressed when you walk out of the shower? Wow, that shower is tough stuff. This is very important. This is your life. That's why I say mindful is not a meditation technique. It's the most important thing you will ever learn in your entire life. So basically you start noticing, that's your technique, you just start what we call objectively observing that your mind is going to create these thoughts. Don't feel guilty about it. I don't care what they are. It doesn't make any difference. You're not doing it. I don't want you to feel you're doing it. Right? There's a movie going on in front of you. Right? I don't know where it came from. It's not my business. All right? And so basically you learn to just watch these thoughts. And what you're going to do is freak out because you're going to sit there and say, OMG. No wonder. No wonder I'm such a mess. And no wonder I've messed up every relationship I ever had. I mean, those thoughts are whoa. And they come up with some very interesting solutions. So first first thing they do is decide there's a problem. There are no problems. A problem means that something is happening outside that you don't want to be happening. Somebody else wants it to be happening. Your problem is somebody else's solution. You define the event as a problem. It's not a problem in and of itself. It's the natural result of what's unfolding in front of you. But your mind decides, I don't want this, I don't like this. Then it's a problem. So first it creates the problem. Thank you so much. Right? Then it spends the next 3 months or 5 years or 20 years trying to figure out what to do about it. This is all your mind. And next thing you know, you have devoted your life to your neurosis. You have devoted your life to these thoughts that are being created in your mind that you don't even know where they're just your past coming back like ghosts. Literally. So you start watching, and what you're going to notice is that the reason you're not here now is because you're there now. So it's not a matter of forcing, do this. You can do that. It's good, right? It's a matter of saying, do I want to deal with the problem? I have a problem. Can I deal with the problem? The answer is absolutely. What would it be like if I dealt with the problem? All right, let's talk about what healthy sounds like. It's getting serious, isn't it? Okay, so far we've talked about how successful you are at your career, at your relationships, at every single thing you try to do. And now we're talking about your entire inner state of being, whether you're okay, whether you're happy, whether you like things, whether you're enjoying your entire life. You can't enjoy your life if you have stored inside of you every single thing that ever bothered you. Why? Because you're going to remember that you didn't like it and you're going to try and make sure it doesn't happen again. You've just ruined your life. All right? You can't experience the moment that's unfolding. Now what you've done is I say, I can't experience the moment that's unfolding because I have a way I need it to be. And I have a way it needed to not be. And now all of a sudden you're fighting with life. That's why you're tense. This answers everything. I could just keep talking, right? That's why there's tension. That's why there's anxiety. That's why your muscles are tight. That's why you feel stress. That's why you say it's overwhelming. Because you have stored this mess inside of you. It doesn't sit in there quietly, period. It tries to release, and it just comes up at all the wrong time. Okay? And therefore, you're so afraid of it, you don't want to experience it again, that you've defined how everybody and everything needs to be for you to be okay. And now you're out there struggling. Instead of enjoying your life and appreciating life and being present with life, you're fighting with life to try and make it be a way that doesn't stimulate that junk that you stored inside of you. If you will watch your thoughts, like I said, this may sound interesting, but you're going to go through a stage where you don't like me. Okay? All right. In fact, sometimes people come to me and say, I was fine before you told me to look. No, you were not fine before I told you to look. You just had not noticed. All right? So, and by the way, now we're talking mindfulness. What I just said there, you just hadn't bothered to notice. Mindfulness means notice. Please take the time to notice. By the way, it doesn't take time and it doesn't take money. Does it? People say, I don't have the time. The time to what? Be there? Right? The time to pay attention to the fact that you got this mess going inside. So your first thing you do is you watch. Don't do anything about it. Don't try to change your thoughts. Right? You learn to watch. Get to lay of the land. Like anything else, any project you would do, the first thing you do is orient yourself. Correct? That's what witness consciousness is. Orientation. Take a look at the lay of the land. Get an idea of what's going on in there. And it's going to freak you out. Relax. That's the whole answer. I'm telling you. Do not feel responsible for your thoughts. Do not feel responsible for your thoughts. You did not dial up one from column A and two from column B. Events took place. You did not deal with them well. What do you mean? If you deal with it well, you let it come and go. You let it come and go. You experience it. Pleasant, not pleasant, whatever it is. You get married, it's beautiful. You get divorced, it's ugly. All these different things happen, right? And you move on. But we don't do that. What we do is if something is not pleasant, we suppress it. We push it away. And if something's pleasant, we cling to it. That's a Buddhist term. We cling to it. We don't want to have the other experience. We want to have that one. So you're missing the rest. And the next thing you know, you're struggling with everything. This is how you start. First, you pay attention and you notice, and it's not going to work. That's what you should notice. Do not judge your thoughts. It's very important. Do not judge your thoughts. They're just like if you go to a movie that somebody made. It's a movie, I didn't make it. That's how I want you to look at your thoughts. They're passing in front of me, right? I mean, your dreams, you do it. That's just something your mind made up, isn't it? It's just your mind just made up a dream. Just basically understand your mind is making things up. Think of those thoughts, right, as your waking dreams. Because the mind makes your dreams, doesn't it? Well, the mind is doing that. And just see it as an object. It's a thought-making machine. And you are the awareness who is aware of it. That's the healthy state. And then what you're going to learn is events are going to unfold in front of you on an everyday basis, right? Somebody beeped at me when I was looking at my phone at the light and I didn't go. All right, well, I know that's tough. Life is tough down here, right? That's a hard one. Okay, the mind's are, right? And you need to learn to let that go, right? Somebody doesn't say hello. A friend of yours walks by and did they see me? Did they not see me? Or did I do something wrong? Did they find out what I said to George? Oh my God, what should I call George? What are you doing? You're sitting on a planet spinning through the middle of empty space being neurotic. Right? And so you learn that your mind has a problem. We already know that. Right? The mind can't not have a problem. Why? because you stored every single thing that ever bothered you inside of it, and then told the mind to figure out how to make the world be so that it doesn't bother you. I swear to God, in 2 sentences I just told you, that is what you've done. And so the mind stays up day and night. That's why you can't fall asleep at night. The mind stays up day and night trying to figure out how to do that. You need to stop that. Mindfulness, now we're going to the next level. First you watch, and then you say, hey, I need to do something about this. Okay, all right, well don't fight with your mind. Don't try to fight with it. Don't get mad at it. Just understand there's a reason it's doing. Buddhists always talk about working at the root. I keep taking you back to the root, all right? What is the root of non-mindfulness? It is the fact that your mind has all these interesting things to say, all right? And you are paying full attention to them instead of living your life. You're living your mind, all right? How do I stop doing that? By watching to see why the mind is doing what it's doing. And I told you why. It is doing it because you have stored the data, that stuff in there. You didn't process it. We used to call it gestalt in the 70s, right? Gestalting it. It made it all the way through. It finished. It was done. Just see these thoughts that are stuck inside of you. You stop them on their journey through the universe, right? Because you couldn't handle them. You weren't comfortable with them. Relax and let them go. Let them. They're trying to continue their journey across the universe. Isn't that beautiful? All right? And so you start practicing that. You start doing this. And you do it with everyday events that are happening to you on a regular basis. The little ones, I call them low-hanging fruit. The ones that you're just causing yourself trouble. Nobody else is causing you trouble. I say there's this litmus test for low-hanging fruit. If I let it go inside of me, would I have to do anything about it outside? If somebody didn't say hello and you don't know why, right? No, if they saw you or didn't see you, let's say you let that go. Is there repercussions? No. I mean, if they're mad at you, you'll find out, right? I mean, obviously this is not the time to find out because you're guessing. Like you're causing yourself trouble. You're causing yourself anxiety for absolutely no reason, almost all the time. So now we're saying how beautiful mindfulness is. First, it solved my problem of how well I do at things on tests. If you take a test, by the way, make sure you're there. It really helps, all right? And basically now we're talking about changing my whole inner state to where I can enjoy my life, where I'm not down on myself all the time and causing all these troubles. So that's a big one, that the everyday events that are happening to you, give yourself a break, will you? Mindfulness is about a way of life. It is about life itself. So the first is the everyday events. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I got a big one on the second one. Just bear with me. There's another big one in there. You're going to find out that it's not just how you deal with the events that are unfolding in front of you now. Learn to let go. What should I do? Relax. Just keep relaxing. I swear to God, the answer is to relax. Just like yoga, relax, okay? It's inner asana. It's an inner asana. When the events start and you notice your mind doing it, right? You're saying, but I can't stop my mind from doing it. I know you can't, and you shouldn't. You should relax in the face of what your mind is doing. You relax. It's not about your mind. It's about your relationship with your mind. You're in there. Your thoughts start, just relax. Just relax and lean away. Just lean away, right? And you're going to find out, oh my God, it changes so fast. To get involved, you have to lean into it. If you relax and lean away, you get distance. Then you get time. Okay, so this is all part of that. Now, what is this other big one? You're going to start to notice what I talked about before, that you've stored your past inside of you, but not all of it, just the bad experiences and some of the good ones, but there were way more bad ones. What do? Right? Your past, God, you're not going to like me. There is no reason to be carrying inside of you the things you did not like in the past. They are over. That's why we say they're the past. They're over. There is, intelligent people do this thing called cost-benefit analysis when we're making decisions, right? I want to tell you the cost-benefit analysis of carrying your past inside of you, your past experience you didn't like, right? Benefit, 0, cost, 100%. I mean, what difference does it make what your mommy did? What difference does it make whether your parents got divorced and you felt guilty about it when you were 6? What are you doing carrying that in there? Of what relevance does that have? I'm yelling at you. Or I'm scolding you. No, I'm asking you a question. Of what relevance does that have to the moment that's unfolding in front of you? The answer is nothing. All it's going to do is distract you and cause all kinds of problems. There is no benefit to continue to store inside of you the events that happened in the past that you did not like. Any one of you that know a benefit that you would store what happened to you when you were 5 years old and you're 55 now, and you have nightmares about it and it keeps coming back up, what? Of what use is that? Right? And all of a sudden you realize you're doing a totally destructive thing to yourself. What do you mean I'm not doing it to myself? Yes, you are. What do you mean? When it tries to come back up, what do? Give me a minute. No, don't talk like that. No, I can't handle. You know I can't handle that. Stop it. You push it away, don't you? You have hands in there, don't you? You push it back down. Leave me alone. All right, I'm all right now. No, you're not. Okay, you push it away, right? Ready? Stop it. What do you mean? Let it go. You don't want it in there. There's only one reason that stuff is in there. You put it in there, you kept it in there, and you keep it in there. It is not that there's super glue in there. Right? I'm serious. There's no tar paper, there's no super glue, there's nothing like that. There is your will. You have will in there. And you have the right, if you want, to keep things in there, impressions. Why you would keep bad ones, I have no idea, nor do you. I would highly advise letting them go. And you're going to find out it's like a weight of 7 billion pounds gets taken off of you. And so you start to do this when you're conscious. Something comes up, you feel a weird feeling, you have a weird reaction to what somebody said. You hear me? And you look at it, and I'm asking you to check, is this from your past? Is it really about what that person said? Or is it what that person said hit what your ex-husband said? And all of a sudden your ex is talking in there. And you're listening? Then I would highly advise not carrying that in there, right? It's a meaningless thing to carry inside yourself. It's totally self-destructive. And so you learn to let it go. How? Learn. That's all I'm going to tell you. You learn everything else. You learn all kinds. You learn calculus. Oh my God. Right? You learn to play difficult instruments. You learn all kinds of things. So learn this. Learn to not carry that stuff inside of you. Learn to let it go. Imagine how much more beautiful it would be if you didn't have that in there. And you could just interact with life. It's called beginner's mind. It's part of mindfulness. Right? Ever heard the term beginner's mind? That every situation that you're having is the first time you had it. And all of a sudden it's exciting. It's, oh my God. You hear me? There's no expectations, there's no judgment, there's no comparing with the past, right? It's just a new experience you're having, and you fully imbibe that experience. So that also is mindfulness. So mindfulness touches psychology, it touches athletics, it touches music, it touches art, it touches school, it touches everything, doesn't it? Okay, it is not something you do on a meditation pillow in the corner for 50 minutes, but it is that also, right? Because you're practicing. You're practicing letting go. Some people say to me, I can't meditate. That's a lie. What do you mean? They say to me, well, I sit down and my mind is just talks and talks. It won't let go, and it's just one thing and the next, and it goes on. I kiddingly go down and pranam to him. What are you doing? I said, that was really high, what you just said. You were watching your thoughts. You don't usually watch your thoughts. You usually get all caught up in your thoughts. So even what you call a bad meditation is good. If I go on the tennis court and my coach is hitting me balls, and today, I'm not good with backhand, right? And I just did really bad on the court because he kept hitting backhand, right? I shouldn't have gone, right? Because I did really bad. That was a bad practice, wasn't it? No, that's a good practice. That's a good practice because I needed that work, didn't I? And if I don't do that work, I will not get better. And if I do that work, I will get better. That's what learning is about, all right? So if you sit down and you watch your mind and it doesn't stop, the fact that you can tell me that you watched your mind not stop is mindfulness.
I love what you're saying, and I understand it. And I've decided that I'm a hoarder. My mind is a hoarder, for sure. But one thing I have a question about is regrets. And maybe it follows along the same line of what you're saying, but yes. I struggle with regrets and wanting to correct them. Do you have any?
Yes, I do. But you have to listen carefully if I give you a deep answer, right? Regrets have no meaning, they have no purpose, they will destroy you. Anything that destroys you has no meaning or purpose for your benefit. And if you walk around regretting and guilt and fear and all this kind of stuff, you become worse. Like literally, if I do something and I hurt somebody, in high school I hurt somebody, all right? But it's stuck in me, right? So now what's going to happen, I'm telling you, is I can't be totally kind to somebody else because I'm afraid, because I feel these regrets and I might hurt them. I can't. It's messed me up. It didn't make me better to be guilty, did it? No one ever got better by being guilty. No one ever got better by having regrets. It is a psychological illness. There is a reason you did what you did that you feel regretful about. I would rather have you deal with that reason, let it go, and forgive yourself. I had a problem, I had a need, I had an insecurity, mommy was bad to me, and I took it out on this person. Do you follow me? But I've now worked that through. I always tell people this. This is how you deal with guilt and regret. Are you ready? You sit yourself down, and you honestly and earnestly ask yourself, would you do it again? If the same situation unfolded, given the awareness and consciousness that you have now, would you behave the same way? Would you do the same thing? All right? And I'm assuming you're going to look and say, no way would I even think of doing something like that. I'm not like that anymore. Well, then of what purpose is the regret or the guilt? It has to do with the person that used to be that's not here anymore. You learned what you needed to learn. You have now changed to the core of your being. Let it go. All it's going to do is hold you back. So don't divinize regret and guilt and that stuff. Say, oh, well, I'm a better person because I feel sorry for what I did. All right? You are a better person if you got rid of, transcended the reason you did it. And then move on. You're here to learn. You're here to grow, right? But if you make it a psychological problem, the fact that you had to learn. How about if I say that? You learned from that experience, didn't you?
Yes.
Right? Okay, then what's wrong with that? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's a beautiful question.
So I'm a senior and I'm preparing to go into graduate school along with many other of my classmates. So I was just trying to think and ask you for some suggestions of how to be mindful in preparation for grad school, or looking into the future, so to not get caught up in that that film in my mind from the future.
Yes.
But then to give myself space to have that too.
Yeah, it's easy. It really is everything I talked about today, right? Is basically life is unfolding, and in your particular life, graduate school is coming. Somebody else's marriage is coming. Somebody else's job is coming. Somebody else's, whatever it is. That's what life does. It's been doing it for 13.8 billion years. Don't think you're doing it. So this is where life has led you, and this is where life has led, right? So the first thing you do is say, it's not a matter of whether I like it or don't like it, right? I'm going to enjoy this process. Don't go to graduate school so you can get out and get a job. That's disgusting, right? Go to graduate school so you can go to graduate school, so that you can learn, so you can have the whole experience. These are precious experiences, right? So that's how you do it. It's like your mind is going to make you neurotic. That's what it's going to do. It's think about this, think about that. No, tell yourself when you wake up in the morning is, I love what I'm doing. If there's a part of you, by the way, if there's a part of you that doesn't love what you're doing, I don't care. If you have a choice of having a good experience or a bad experience, why would you choose to have a bad one? So you sit there and start to learn to say, I love graduate school. I love that this class is so hard. I love that the professor is hard to understand. I just, in as much as possible, enjoy the experience of your life. Is that fair enough?
Sounds good.
It's your choice whether you like something or not, isn't it? All right? Like, I'm serious about the past. You get to a point with your past, I want you to be able to say, I love my past. There's not a single thing I would ever change in your past. Well, why should I say that? Because there isn't anything you will ever change in your past. So if you have a choice, and since you're the one who's choosing, I love my past. It was great, right? It was just great. I grew up, my mother was an alcoholic, and my father was that, right? I learned so much. What an amazing experience I had. I wouldn't want to miss that for anything. Oh, and I loved my divorce, the first one. All right, the second one wasn't so good, but the first one was, learn to make it lighter in there, will you? All right? Have some fun. You're the only one in there. Do not make hell of that.
My trouble is I see the thoughts, so he says to focus on them and feel them or see them. but I still don't know how to, you're saying let it flow, step back. I feel like I don't know how to do it.
I know. So what I taught you, what I said, is very simple, right? You see the thought, you have a tendency to do something about it. Have you noticed? That doesn't work here, right? When you see it, relax. I swear to God, no one can hear this. Once you hear it, you're going to come to me. They do it all the time. Say, oh my God, I got it. When you see your mind creating the thoughts, instantly, the only thing you do about it is relax. Just relax. Just relax. Relax and release. There's nothing to do about it. They are not going to hurt you. If wind is blowing by me, that doesn't hurt me. If I try to stop it from blowing by me and try to hold a 4x8 plywood, that's a full-time job and I get tired. It can hurt me, can't it? It is the resistance to the thought that creates the tension and the problems. It's not the thought. And you'll realize there's room in there. You can relax. Lean away from the tension. Lean away from the thought. That's all. That's all you have to do. Don't fight. Don't fight. Relax. And you've just opened up, right? If the water's having trouble flowing through a pipe, right, and the pipe gets all uptight, then it gets tighter, right? The pipe needs to relax and open up so more volume can pass. You need to make more room. That's all you're doing, is creating room inside so that this stuff can pass through. And then it won't hurt you. If you're not constricting it, it will just come and go. Even these big things that you've carried your whole life, they'll just go. They pass.
The question I have is contrasting mindfulness with the power of intention. Let's say, for example, the late Wayne Dyer, more recent book, Power of Intention. So contrasting that with the idea of mindfulness.
Yeah. So what he's asked, there are some people who teach, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, that you create your universe. And that what you should do is decide inside with an intention how you want things to be. I don't teach that. Okay? I don't even care whether you create your universe, because if you are creating your universe and doing it based on what you want and what you don't want, and how else would you choose? I don't want to be in it. Okay? In other words, if you still have wants and not wants, and you can't honor and respect that the universe is a phenomenal place and you're supposed to be learning from it, like when I walk into a classroom, I don't have the right to tell the professor what to teach me. I just admit it, I don't know calculus. I better shut up, you hear me, and learn. If you're busy walking in there saying, but I don't learn well that way, don't teach that way. And when I did algebra, you teach it off. No, you don't get to do that, right? As far as I'm concerned, this is me, you don't get to do that out here, right? Life is unfolding, you are a participant in it. The first thing you do is embrace it. The first thing you do is feel it. The first thing you do is welcome the reality that is unfolding in front of you. Then, if it hits something inside of you that causes a disturbance, that's your problem, not life's problem. All right? Just learn to let go. So you asked the question slightly differently, right? You asked intention. Mindfulness is your intention. It's not like there's two things, right? Somebody else's intention is to find a husband or find a wife. That's because they're not okay. Believe me, the husband and wife will find you if it's meant to. Life will unfold. It doesn't mean you're not participating. I dare people to sit there and say, right now we're having an experience. How many other things are happening everywhere else that you have nothing to do with? Like 800 billion, zillion, quillion. Well, they're going on by themselves. And you're perfectly willing to let them. You don't even do anything about it, right? Then this moment in front of you is also going on by itself. It is part of creation. And the first thing you do is embrace it, imbibe it, let it touch you, right? Then you interact with it. I always teach this. It's not passive. I'm not teaching passivity, right? Once you are present with it, you will see there's a part you're supposed to play in it, and it will always be service. It will never be trying to take what you want, because you don't have a want anymore. You're so filled with joy and fullness, right, of the experience of life, that when things unfold in front of you, it's more of a, how can I help? How can I serve? The highest state is every moment that unfolds in front of you, you are completely open to it, and then you look to see, is there a reason this is here? Intention, from the Buddhist sense, and mindfulness are not different things, all right? Your intention is mindfulness. All right? And once you are merged in that, and you practice that intention to be present, to let go of yourself, to let go of yourself, to let go of all that noise, right? You will find you know what to do every single time. It is so obvious. It's not about I'm not okay, and listen to me. It is never about I'm not okay. How does everybody else need to be for me to be okay? Please, did you hear that? Because that's how we live in it. I'm not okay in here. I made a mess. How does everybody else need to be? Even the weather. Better not rain tomorrow. All right? How does everything else need to be for me to be okay? That's a non-starter for you and everyone around you.